So shall we start with a bit of context? My good friend, Dov.
Yeah, hi. And so I'm from Eden Wellstyle, and we are a holistic online private mental health service. So that kind of covers everything. So from one side, which is like the medical side, whole spectrum. So from clinical psychologists to coaches and counselors and psychotherapists, all the way along to nutritionists and people that can work with movement, Tai Chi and Qigong and yoga, a full spectrum of anything to do with mental health, right? And mental health is not just about mental health, it's also about holistic body health.
You start up Eden, can you explain the philosophy behind Eden's approach to the well-being? What's different about it?
It actually started during the whole pandemic time. And I'm a psychotherapist myself. I also work for the Priory Hospital, and I have my own private practice out with Eden because it didn't exist at that time. And I began to notice that, well, first of all, the NHS waiting times were beginning to get it was bad before the pandemic, but during kind of the pandemic, it was becoming like non-existent, and people were really needing it the most. So I thought, how are we going to get a service that can get very, very fast access to the best, health practitioners that we can get? And how can we do everything under the one roof? So we wanted everything under a multidisciplinary system. And, our belief from the very beginning is that it's not just about mental health. It's not just about physical health. It's about, encompasses everything from emotional and spiritual aspects. And our whole approach is basically to create a balanced, or I don't even like using the word balance, but like a wholesome life of quality for anyone that uses our service. And we kind of focus on all of these dimensions at the one time.
Yeah, I really do feel like it's something that everyone has experienced, not being able to get appointments or not knowing that if the NHS service is like specifically what they need, and having it as like a whole different approach is amazing. And that's something that we would like really want to put out there. I'm seeing like your passion for making sure that it's so accessible, it's for everybody, and it's a service that anyone can benefit from, even if they don't know it for now. And I think that's something that we're going to get across by doing these events. 6 months of events lined up, which is amazing.
Yeah. And the whole idea of the events where we didn't want to be a stuffy, up in the shadows, in the dark corridors, mental health place, where you go up and see the doctor, or you go and see the counselor, and everything's kind of hush-hush. And we wanted to burst that open, and say that it's not even about breaking stigma. There's no stigma in being human, right? There's no stigma. That's who we all are.
Absolutely.
Right? So we thought, let's break it right out and have kind of curated experiences, right? Live events, in person and online, that are not just about information, but it's also about practical skills, learning together, creating community, really kind of fun to look after our well-being.
And be part of the experience as well. That's community is something close to my heart, and we love the idea that being part of the community and coming to the events is also part of the experience of not having like that kind of barrier in between.
And when you mentioned barriers, we wanted to burst open all barriers, right? To not be a place where people had to search us out. We wanted a place where we bring that to the community. And just like you said, there is nothing stronger like the number one protective factor for human health, and I'm talking about physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, all the whole thing that makes up is community. You cannot beat that as it's the best medicine that's out, right? Community protects us from many, many different disorders and illnesses. So that has to be number one.
100%. So do you want to go over a little bit like what the events will look like?
With Bold, it is really important step for us because we're not arrogant, right? So we're not professing to know everything. So it was really important for us to find a partner in the corporate world, in the business world, in the working world, that we had the same values and that we could work together in a flexible way. Together we work in understanding what is the major problems of people in the workforce, right? So it could be anything from neurodiversity, so ADHD or autism, and people are in the work, or dyslexia or dyspraxia or any of these, and people need to be able to still work. Is a lot of people start their own businesses when they've got that kind of brain, and it's such a wonderful place to bring people together and as a community work together and say, look, what is it you need? Lectures, it's about interaction. And we do this in live events, which are big kind of public events, but we can also do it in masterminds. So we can have small groups together. If it's a group from maybe 3 or 4 different companies who are doing similar things or complementary things, and we can brainstorm and work together and lead people to solutions that they might not have thought of on their own. It really comes together when working with people that are in the Bold community.
Small businesses, large businesses, people that have started their own businesses, and it has become, I don't want to say a trend, but has become like enlightened that people that think differently tend to be pushed into starting their own businesses, or I don't feel comfortable in my current role because they don't understand how I think. And that's what we're kind of bringing to light a little bit. We don't want to see people pushed away or forced into new roles, and we don't want to see like people thinking differently as a bad thing either. We want to see how can we adapt, how can it make us better, and how can we be inclusive as well.
Absolutely. We have to celebrate the human differences.
And I want to explain the next one.
Right. So we thought, the last event we did was ADHD in the workplace, and we will be repeating that. But the next one, we wanted something about how to hone in on people's creativity and get the best out of it in the workplace. So we're going to have an amazing workshop, basically, on how to hone in everybody's kind of inner powers, if you like, the power of imagination, the power of mindset, the power of actions, the power of the present moment, the power of understanding our own narrative and how we channel who we think of ourselves into the workplace so that we can get optimum performance. And work. If you know how the body and mind work together, if you know how it all comes together, we can actually really powerfully change the pathways that we're on.
And that's a good way to summarize what we're doing here. And if you do want to find out more about Eden, you can go to the website, which is at the bottom there, I think. Or you can find out a bit more on the Bold website as well. But if you want to find out in person, the next event is late October. That's up on our Eventbrite. That'll be up on all of our platforms as well. Just make sure sign up and get involved.
This is for everybody, and everyone that comes, every single person that comes will